Respected Thầy, dear Sangha, today is April 13th, 2025. We're at Deer Park Monastery. I'd like to ask people here coming today, maybe you can share in a few words, what is your purpose of coming today, or if you've been several times to Deer Park? Anyone? Just shout it out. I'm hearing echo. Why did you come today? Thank you. Anyone else? Slow down. Less stress. Coming out to our home. And maybe to my siblings and those who are in long term, what do you want to hear today? Maybe a short talk? But truthfully, when we went through the schedule for, I think it's bothering me. Hearing echo and it's too loud in my ear. But when we did the schedule for this year, I knew I was coming back from Plum Village, but I thought, 2 weeks would be well enough for me to prepare. But I didn't realize that in coming back on the end of March, on the 1st, I went straight into the dentist's chair and had a root canal. So I've been on antibiotics and with the jet lag and all that, so it kind of derailed my preparation for the talk. So, like I said, it might be a short talk. One of the things in just catching up on coming back here is that came up more often into my mind, especially when I came back to Plum Village and saw so many young monastics. I tease and I joke with my younger siblings, my sisters, that since 97, 98, I don't count down to know how many siblings I have. I only count up, because to count down is too many for me to remember. But yeah, just the phrase and the title of the book. This is a shout out for the bookshop. This might not be the updated version, but this is the book I, once it was out, that I work with my younger brothers and sisters mostly. The key word is freedom, and actually the book or the process. What are we think that it's for monastics or to become monastics. We invite you to look into it, but it's not just becoming monastics. It's also for people who are wanting to start their our own journey of spirituality. Maybe I'll ask you again, the audience again. What is a spirited person to you? How would you define? We met spirited people before. What some of the characters of a spirited person to some of you? Grounded? Yes. Compassion? For me, it's their passion, and they're very clear-minded with what they either want to do, make, or be. And they're going to do whatever they need to find the resources to somehow realize all that. And it might take a long time, but they're going to stay on that path. So similarly, that's why I asked you in the beginning is, why did you come here? Why did we all, what factors brought us all here together to be on this journey together? So, even though we're on different journeys, our own journey, but the path somehow kind of co-mingle, multi-mingle, layers by layers. And sometimes we might meet one person and we might go for a ways together, and then we take an exit that goes onto another path, and we meet more people. But for me, within the phrase stepping into freedom, the word freedom, we had a recent talk that Thầy emphasized again, and the work that I was doing with my emails also came up with the word freedom. It's very, very important for monastics. And as a practitioner, as a lay practitioner, it should also be important to you, to all of us. Because, well, first of all, what are we wanting to be free from? What is tying us down? What is imprisoning us? So for people who are new on the practice, I'll go into more detail, but just a side homework for those who've been staying with us a long time or have been to the winter retreats and Sangha members. Take time, do your own, make your own koan, and double check every 2 months or so. What is imprisoning us? Where are we not as free as we want to be? Where do we want more freedom? And not just our personal self, but also freedom when we're in context with a relationship together with someone else. That's also, this is for lay people. That's also something to look at, because when we're free individually, but we're in a relationship, that freedom might change. The definition of freedom might change when you're in a partnership. I kind of opened up saying that's for monastics, for lay people, but I was thinking maybe even within monastics, when we're in a relationship with our sisters, within like a team, a working team, or within the same room, one person's freedom might be someone else's nightmare. So relationship is not necessarily just for lay, but in certain contexts, us monastics should also reflect and see how that's at. Where are we still imprisoning ourselves, or the conditions around feels like it's imprisoning us, and having changes in roommates or changes in our community, again, giving us less freedom as we would want it to be. So some of the things that we would want to be free from are emotions, particularly, again, the one that ties down, that imprisons us. And then also the one that overwhelms us, that comes out of the blue, the strong ones. And they're actually not really out of the blue. It's just that we kind of sweep them under the rug, or we play the rabbit game. It's like we have these rabbits that are around our community, especially up here and in the nunnery. They see the monastics when we walk, and we see them, and all they do is hop, 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 and they turn around. And as soon as they think that they turn around, they don't see us, means that we're not there. So it's the same thing for us. Don't be a rabbit with your with the strong emotions and with the fear or the anxiety that's actually deep inside of us from our childhood, from workplaces, even from generations of our ancestors that we know are there, but we kind of just turn our back to it and don't want to face it and don't want to deal with it. So because of that kind of action, they get stronger and stronger and they get suppressed so much that they just have it's like action and reaction, and the more you push down, they have the same energy to push back up. And when you're at your weakest point, it's going to go everywhere. And that's why we need to be very careful and not create ourselves into a a bomb, an emotional bomb that could just go off. And we can recognize those symptoms symptoms in ourselves. So then we can recognize it in our children, in our partners, in our family members, and unfortunately also in our colleagues at work. Another area of freedom we might want to be from would be, the technical term would be perceptions. How we perceive things outside of us. But terms, more common terms might be like a fixed mindset, a certain ways of thinking, and convictions. So that's what is gonna, again, bog us down, tie us down, chain us, imprison us. Even though those areas seems like rather unmanageable, but the next one is even more unmanageable because it's in our psyche. It's notions, like notions of perfectionism, a notion of happiness, of success, or of peace, or even of death. And here's a big one, of ourselves and of others. When we have certain notions, we get kind of, again, boxed in. And not only do we box ourselves in, we use that box and that filter to look and receive information and understand information about other people, when they might not even be a box. They might be, a circle or a sphere or any other multi-faceted sized entity, which evolves from second to second too. So those are some of the things that we need to learn and train ourselves to be free from. And coming here today, you've learned a few tools that we already have in hand, and practices that we can do alone or together with our friends and our family, to be able to do that, to protect whatever freedom we already have, and to increase the freedom that we want to have. So the practice of mindfulness, of being aware of what's going on around us and inside of us. So the tools, hopefully my brother and sister have shared with you, is our conscious breath. It's always there. If we're not breathing, we're going to be dead. At least 4 minutes after. And then, luckily, our teacher found the sutra on walking meditation. So to be aware of our steps, because we're so mobile in this society. And if we can use our steps as we go about doing things that we have to do for ourselves, at work, for our family, for our service to the community, we can still be practicing. So here in our monastery, if you come and visit us for a week, we have schedules we wake up at 5 and we sit around 5:45. And there's different activities all the way till dinner is around 6-ish, and we have 9:30, 10:30 is lights out. So we have a set schedule that helps us to be able to maintain our practice. And there's other people practicing with us. But for me, and our teachers reminded us that even though there's schedules there, even though we're given 45 minutes to sit and 45 minutes to an hour to walk together, and then 3 meals a day, which is another 2 to 3 hours, we're given all that time to do the practices, to sitting meditation, to enjoy our steps, to generate mindfulness and awareness with our breath. And so about 5 hours already. Are we actually fully using those 5 hours properly? Or are we just allowing our the what we call the CD, what's our thoughts, to pull us away from not being in our body, not being here, not being physically where you are? Like if you're at home and you're thinking about your work while your daughter or son or your spouse or your partner is trying to share some difficulty, then you're not on the same wavelength. And that might be somehow the only chance or the only time your family member feels comfortable enough to share. And because we're not present for them, we miss that opportunity. And because we miss the opportunity, later on, we unintentionally then somehow kind of push that button or added more difficulty to our family member. And they feel unheard, or they feel uncared for, or they feel that they're not important enough in your life. So our presence, being in our body, is very, very important, not just for ourselves, but for those around us. So for me, the practice, the schedule might help, but we need to be committing to it, just to really stay moment to moment with our mindfulness. And one moment leads to the next, just like one step leads to the next. And if we want to run a whole mile or the decathons, it still needs the first steps. It still needs the first half mile. And then the second part that would help us protect our freedom is to observe the mindfulness trainings. And I believe there was a whole group when I came up of lay friends reading the board out there of our trainings outside. So if you have a chance, please look more into it. And if you have even greater fortune is to come to our retreats. Usually in our retreats, we have a panel of people who have practiced the trainings for lay practitioners, the 5 mindfulness trainings, and they will share their personal experiences, their difficulties, what worked, what didn't, and what's still not working for them. So to be able to see how more clearly what the training is about and how much or how many parts or percentages of it you can bring into your own life. To be able to, coming back again, is to protect, to ensure our freedom. And of course, for the monastics, for like to be novices aspirants, brothers, we don't have sisters yet. That's just a call out. And for the novices, you have the 10 novice precepts. So you see 5, 14. I forgot the OI members. 5, 14, 10, and then more for the fully ordained. Don't feel like you're not getting like the creme of the creme if you don't have more precepts. They're just kind of splitting hairs, just making it more specific to a specific area, specific situation, so that as a practitioner, we can focus better. And the word focus is actually, it's the same as concentration. It's like when we have the magnifying glass and you have lights through, it focuses the light, just like we focus the light of mindfulness, so that it concentrates the energy and be able to go deep into the situation for us to see the different layers, the different factors that make up the difficulty that we're facing, the fears that we may be having, the anxiety, or the the what's the word? Discriminations that our ancestors had to face hundreds and hundred years ago, not just on this continent, but other continents too. And that as their continuation, their blood continuation, we have that within ourselves too. And it might manifest in different ways. So we need to look at these areas, and we can, for me, the practice is to choose something that kind of speaks to us right away and practice with it daily. And then once that you feel that you gain some more knowledge and more freedom with it, you can switch around to something, another area in a week or a month. So the concentration helps us to go through the situation, and it brings about, again, the terms is insight, but that's basically is deeper understanding. But for me, sometimes it's understanding that I don't understand enough. Understanding is to know that I don't know enough and I have to learn more. And learning does not need to be from like a top teacher. Anyone who has some sort of experience more than me in whatever area that I am truly a novice in, like a baby in the woods, they will become my teacher. And that's how we continue. And that's how I kind of sense that I picked up from learning from Thầy, that he continues to be a student, a lifetime student. Because whatever area he doesn't know, he start researching. And whoever he is able to tap into, he would really drill and gain from their experience, their expertise. I think I also picked up on Thay's love for library. One time he was mentioning, I think either verbally, but also I read later in his book, Fragrant Palm Leaves. He probably had the manuscript long ago, but it didn't get printed into English later. And I probably knew the book in Vietnamese, but by then I wasn't reading or know enough Vietnamese to read that fast. But anyhow, he commented was that when he went to and he goes to a library, the first thing he would go to is the either the front or the back where they have the old ways. They have a little paper pocket and they have a card of all the people who took out the book. And this one book, I can't remember, and he picked it up, and there was only two other people's names, and the last person who signed out the book that he was holding was 50 years from when he picked up the book. So just hearing him sharing that, I could feel so much history and connecting. Even though I didn't hold the book, but I heard it from him that I connected with Thầy and with him connecting to the other person who held that book and checked out that book 50 years previous. I can't remember if that book was in Princeton, Columbia, or the seminary that that recently helped us with the naming of the street in New York. But yeah, somehow it has a profound connection through time and space. And that gave me a little more insight on what I was sharing with you earlier about notions of self. And that term is or non-self. I guess non-self is one of the big terms that we study in Buddhism. But for me, I try to kind of chisel at that notion with my own practice. Somehow I stumbled on it. when I was a novice, or actually wasn't even a novice yet, I came to Plum Village in 1990. And I guess I was, my English was, I was more English speaking than Vietnamese speaking. And I started assisting or helping Shiko Jin Kong with some of the letters that she received for Thay's books and printing books. And later I started reading the contracts themselves. And then as she got busier and busier with the summer opening, she just said, okay, you open the mail, read it, and just summarize it for me. And then we'll figure out what to do. And then it ended up saying, okay, and she tells me, and then we'll check with Thầy, and then she'll tell me, okay, you write it, and I'll sign it. And it just goes, slowly. You said, okay, you sign in Thay's name. And I was like that, scratching my head. And so my practice at that time, because I really, really felt the responsibility, signing in on behalf of Gojin Kong already was, a big deal, let alone signing for Thầy. So I started writing in the third person. Would you call we as a third person? I would actually write we and not I, because I know what I'm writing is representing Thầy, representing Gojin Kong, and actually representing our community, depending what letter I'm writing. Only when the situation is that I specifically did something and I need to clarify it was me and not someone else, then I would use the word I. But for so long, since 1990 till now, I've been doing that, and I continue to do that, not just, is that the bell? Not just on letters. We used to write, actual letters and print them out and mail them, but emails and then now text. So it's, I'm not trying to, pass the buck or having someone else be responsible, but I'm reminding myself that I'm not an individual. What I'm doing is for the community, and it puts me in a higher level of like scrutiny of the words and the tone, of phrasing, the answer that the people might not like to hear. I remember the first time, because Gojin Kong was very, very helpful to Thầy, and she really want people to know Thay's ability and his teachings. So she agrees to almost everything that's in the contract. And I kind of felt like, since Thầy is the one having to do a lot of these things, he should know what he's being committed to doing. So I sat with Thầy. It was like a 20 odd page contract. I would go literally class by class with Thầy to explain what it means to my best translation of the legal terms. And he was really crossing out. There was a page where everything was crossed out. And I looked at Thầy saying, they might not like this, Thầy. They might not want to sign this, or they might even want to reduce, whatever negotiation terms that's favorable to us. And Thầy said, that's where, even though I was a layperson, I could feel, said, I am a free person. And I want to teach them that they need to also create a sangha of publishing houses. He didn't want to stay in one publishing house. He wanted to work with different houses. And of course, the publishing house, they always want to stay one author and keep that author for as long as they can. But Thầy was refusing to be dictated by these people. And like I said, even as a layperson, I could sense that to Thầy and to a monastic, freedom is really, truly a gift we give ourselves and a treasure we need to keep intact and increase at all times. Like make it bigger and great. Not diminishing in our daily life and throughout our life. So the third part that would help us protect our freedom is community. So because like what that means is Sangha support. Everyone here. I think there's about 100 or over 100. There's more of us outside, so maybe 200 today. So for me, our fellow practitioners, they're like mirrors for us to see, to reflect back. How much of our speech, how much of our actions, whether it's intentional or most of the times it's unintentional, that we that are actually aligned with the first two parts that I've shared, with practicing mindfulness, with observing our mindfulness trainings, and then for our monastics, the fine manners. That's another part that is also available for lay practitioners if you want to research into them. So again, more homework for the long-term friends. Look into that. What areas where the last time we heard not so easy to receive comment, even though it was said jokingly from our family members or from our Sangha members, from our siblings, about something we did or something we said, and reflect back. Does that align? Are we our mindfulness practice, is it really there? In that, how much was it 100%, or were we distracted by something else? So, for example, for me, like in conflicts, when we have a conflict, if it's with just one person, but most of the time it's more people, but let's make it simple with just one person. The first thing I always remind myself, a conflict can never start by just one person. There's always something that I myself have contributed, even though it's just 0.111%. It's still there. So I need to remember and look at that first. Look inward first. Train ourselves to look inward first. Because our tendency is to look outward and blame. So after reminding myself that, I would then ask or look at what areas did I personally wasn't doing my best. Like I said, I was, on antibiotics. I came back on jet lag. So definitely during that time, if I wasn't more careful and being more careful of my speech or of my hearing, I would have probably contributed to other people's misunderstanding me or causing harm or hurt to a fellow sister. Second thing I would then also look at is, where did I unintentionally cause a misunderstanding? Try to recall an example. Sorry, at my age, senior moments comes easily, so I'm blanking out. When that comes back, I'll share it. And then third part I would look at is, what are some of the factors and first of all, factors that are not within the other person's access or control that might have affected them not being their best. So as you can see, a conflict, if we look at it through these filters and these practices, do you think the energy of that, the angst or the frustration we feel, is that going to stay that high? It's going to escalate very quickly. And luckily, we have not yet touched the part blaming other people. And that's how we can avoid going to that habit energy that most of us have, that tendency that most of us have. What time is it now? Oh, wow. I thought I would be short. Okay. I picked this up on my way up to the talk, and I meant to share it when I was saying about imprisonment, and I don't know what this is called. I kind of made it into a nest, but it's kind of clinging on a lot of our bushes, especially with new leaves coming out. Thầy jokingly called them the pink, the hồng, the red silk, the red silk thread. In Vietnamese poetry and language, it's what kind of hooks you and keeps you hooked. So I'd love to know more if you can email the office to let us know with the name of this. I think it just flies, the bird somehow drops it on plants. And a lot of times if their bushes are nearby, I would free the bushes from these things as I can, but my arm reach is not that far. But most of the time they're like near rocks and they're like, I'd say 5 feet or more from the roads. And they're thick like a whole blanket on some bushes, especially this time of year. And they just suck out the nutrients of these bushes. And so if we can learn of natural insecticides, that maybe the drones that the brothers use to take photos could drop them and help these bushes to survive. But sorry. So yeah, these hooks, make sure that we're more aware of them and that they're not hidden. Just like the fly fishing, that you have these plastic lures, and they're hidden in them, the hooks, but the fish don't see the hooks. So just like that, alcohol have hooks. They might make us feel fuzzy and forgetful about what we're wanting to forget. But they have their hooks. The things that are hooking, that have hooks and that are keeping you imprisoned. So take a look at those. Maybe I'll open up to 1 or 2 questions, just so I connect with what's happening in your life now. Something that might be helpful for the rest of the group here, if the practice could be of help for you. If somehow anything in my talk just didn't jive and didn't work for you, maybe a question might help that I could help answer today. So just raise your hand and maybe someone might help bring a microphone to you. No question? Okay. Oh, one. Here's a microphone. There you go. So the third lady in the second row. And no politics, please. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you very much for your time. In relating to what you just said about hooks. When you see a family member and they keep on just giving in to those hooks, and you see that they're just giving in to those hooks, and you've kind of fixed yourself, but you want to help fix them, how can you help them see that they're not really helping themselves by giving in to that habitual energy? Because whenever I try to do it, it comes across like with like anger and stuff, and I try to take control of that, but it's difficult. So thank you.
Thank you. So was the question clear for everybody? I don't have to rephrase. Okay, good. May I ask, just to be more more clear with my sharing, is this family member a younger person, like your child or your younger siblings, or is it like someone your age and older?
It's actually my father-in-law. He's my elder.
Your daughter-in-law?
Oh, no, my father-in-law.
Oh, your father-in-law, sorry.
Yes.
Your father-in-law.
Yes. But I feel like spiritually I'm his elder in some ways, but physically he's my elder. But I can't really direct him because, to be more specific, he just goes onto his computer and just drowns his mind with Netflix. And entertainment is good, but you need to have creativity of your own as well to supplement that.
Yeah. So yeah, father-in-law, in-laws are tricky.
Because I live there too, so I'm very grateful.
Okay, I will try to give some guidance here. Well, first of all, my experience is people will hear what they want to hear only when they are open to hearing it. Does that make sense? We can't force feed anyone. Even if you blast it, whatever dB volume, it won't come in. So to make sure that what we're saying or what we're sharing is received and really taken in, we need to do some preparation. First of all, we need to be in a space where our sharing is from a spot of compassion and of love, and not anything else that might be misunderstood or construed. It really is out of wanting to help. And then secondly, it's time-wise. Even though it's the truth, but not all truth are helpful at certain times. There actually can be deadly and detrimental if they're not given at the right time. So we need to, again, like I said, you need to look into the situation. For each situation, the timing might be different. I remember our teacher said that he had a teaching for one of the monks who was my elder brother, and it took him 3 years. He had to be patient 3 years before he can actually share what he wanted to share with his monk, with his disciple, because he knew previously that brother wouldn't be able to receive it properly and won't be able to practice with it. So that's 3 years of patience. So, and that just that sharing gave me, then, like being an elder sister, being someone in a role that you want to give guidance. Patience is a must. And we need to continue to train in being patient. And then thirdly, is to consider we might not be the person from which that person will need to hear this information. We need to find someone else who, the person we want to, your father-in-law in this situation, but in general, the person you want to, for them to hear, would be able to connect in some way. That they're, in Vietnamese, there's a phrase that says, the Buddha in the house is not very auspicious. They're not listened to. Just like your young ones in your family. You might say that the same thing, but if they're friends or even your younger brother, their uncles and aunts says it, they would nod and they were okay with it. But if you say it or your husband says it, no, they would slam on the door. With that happens, right? Same thing. That's what we were saying. The Buddha in the house has no kilo, no weight. So for I think especially for in-laws, and because hierarchy-wise, in a way, he is your senior, that might be more of this case for you, is that someone else needs to be sharing this and not you. But you could be the hidden helper behind. So I think I gave you enough to research, and then what needs to be said and how. I think your experience and with working with the other person, with and the patience, the practice of patience will tell you what to share, when to share, how much to share. Will be more clear. And sometimes, regardless of everything I just said, there might be, if we continue our practice, not being the person to share might not be, not saying that we're indifferent about it. We're still caring. We still care about the situation. We just not the right factor or the element to be doing to carry out the message. But if we stay with our practice, maintaining our awareness and cultivating our compassion for that person, like you for your father-in-law, even if you don't say anything, but you're from your speech and action around the interaction of the family, you will feel it. Because if you don't practice that and you have some sort of like conflicting energy, he definitely will feel that. If you feel awkward around him, if you feel like I'm helpless, he will feel that. So when you don't have that kind of feeling and you really just practice, metta, really practice compassion and open-minded, and sending out energy of hoping that he has the right conditions, the favorable conditions to be able to overcome his difficulties. Just having that, the energy will be totally different around him and he will feel it. And all of a sudden, maybe like in front of, like during Super Bowl or something, and you're having fun talking and just driving back and forth, you might be able to just drop one sentence just at the right time, right moment, and he just takes it like that. So the thing is, we need to be present for that very thin window of opportunity that comes. But if we're not present, we're not careful, not mindful in our body, being there with our family members, then those windows of opportunities, they're very slim. They will go by very quickly, and they're gone. Once they're gone, they're gone. And it might be, once in a lifetime chance to do so. Good luck. Okay, Brother Ming dear, were you able to do the recording at all? Yeah. So, huh? Oh, negative. Oh, well, maybe you could, if you have a microphone, and see if it tries it. So this morning I woke up and I started hearing our friendly coyotes laughing or calling out to each other. And it was right at the wake up time, and the wake up bell just finished, and the big bell started chiming, and I recorded it. So hopefully, I was gonna make it a surprise for you, but hopefully you'll be able to hear it properly and enjoy this as my end of the talk. Go ahead, brother. Thank you. Để mấy người đừng thỉnh chuông để nghe cái kia xong rồi em thỉnh chuông. Có 1 phút rưỡi em canh khi bắt đầu nghe.